Our guest says the upcoming 60-day suspension of rice imports, the new U.S. tariffs, and a 2026 national budget focused on farming, infrastructure, and technology will all affect food supply and prices. With us now for more is Marites Tiongco, full professor at the Carlos L. Tiu School of Economics at De La Salle University. Good to have you on, Tess. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Miss Kathy, for having me.
Okay, so you've heard there that the president has already launched a website containing all the flood control projects which go back to 2022 with a cost of at least 545 billion pesos. What do you make of the launch of this website 2 weeks after the State of the Nation address?
Well, I should say I'm happy because the administration has fulfilled its promise after 2 weeks of the SONA. And so this is what I have been saying, that there should be full transparency of projects, especially for the flood control that has been an issue now. So project scope, the costs and the procurement timelines should be put into public. And there you go. It's already there. So it shows that the administration, President Marcos, PBBM, is really serious about the accountability of his administration.
But what difference could it make with the 2026 budget now about to be submitted to Congress on August 13th?
Remember, if you recall what he said in the SONA, that after looking through all these projects, the flood control projects, if there are projects that are not really being implemented, or the design or the proposals are not supposed to be there, like he mentioned about ghost projects, then he is really going to cut those projects. I mean, the cost of that, the budget for those projects that are ghosts.
Right. Well, the 2026 budget is one of the factors, one of the moving parts. The other developments that have all taken place over a blistering last 2 weeks also include the suspension of rice imports, as well as the new U.S. tariffs, the 19% and the 100% that we have yet to know about on chips and semiconductors. Among all these drivers, what do you think would impact supply and prices of food the most?
Well, let me first clarify that the rice import suspension is only for 2 months. That is from September 1 to October 31. And this is because it's the harvest season. So that time, the country will stop bringing in imported rice to help the farmers raise their income. Especially now, or earlier this year, there was a drop of the palay price for as low as like 8 pesos per kilo. So the government is saying that we have enough rice supply, especially during that suspension time, which is for 2 months. And so locally, we are expecting a record high harvest. And so as long as there's going to be a timely release of the buffer stock, it's going to be okay. I mean, there's going to be like, there's no effect mostly on the increase in prices, because the trader said that if there's going to be import suspension, then the price of rice could go up to like 6 pesos, by 6 pesos per kilo. But then if there's timely release of the buffer stock during that time, then probably that's going to be stable. I mean, the price of rice will be stable. And what is important is we just keep our local market stable and safeguard our economy.
Right, but that's where the caveat is, the timely release of the buffer stocks. And I know that we've had long-standing logistical bottlenecks that have kept the buffer stocks from moving fast enough. So how real is the risk that retail rice prices would go up in a big way, and by up to how much at worst?
Well, as the traders have been projecting, which I think it's also kind of close to the projection, it's going to be like a 6 to 8 pesos increase, no? But then we have also this RCEP, that we can like the rice import tariffs that we have earned, I think it's around 6.6 billion, and so that can be, as I think it was mentioned by Dr. Roel Briones in your previous interview, that there should be direct cash incentives or cash aid to small farmers who owns 2 hectares or below, and so this would stabilize any changes or of the price of palay. But the important thing is that that would give the import suspension would give it's kind of a protection to the farmers because it will give them breathing room and better prices in the short term. And that could also boost the rural incomes for as long as I said, there's going to be timely release of the buffer stock and NFA will buy the rice at the current price. So it's at the market price, not the very low price that I mentioned earlier, which happened.
But there is the Katiwa stores that weren't there before, and it's offering 20 peso rice. And the Department of Agriculture said starting on Wednesday, it's going to give 20 peso per kilo rice for farmers, for registered farmers. So won't these be enough to help ensure that any of the maybe untimeliness, if you will, the release of buffer stocks might be able to cushion it because there is the Kadiwa store?
Yeah, but that's only for selected Kadiwa stores. It's not for all. So there are around 700 plus Kadiwa stores all over the country, and it's only a few, maybe less than 100, who's going to participate in this, at least for this year, because it's going to be like staggered for the next couple of years. So next year it's going to be like an increase of 30% of the number of Kadiwa stores that will be selling 20 pesos kilo of rice. But remember that these are targeted. So are only for the poor families. So there are requirements and qualifications for that. So it's not for everyone yet.
As a final point before we go, let's talk about RCEP, because the Philippines is part of the RCEP trade bloc, and that includes Japan, Korea, Australia. Going to the other side of the equation, exporters. How can Philippine exporters quickly pivot to these markets to cushion the impact of the tariffs?
Okay, so let me just go step back a little bit. So this has also got to do with the tariff, the Trump tariff, right? The higher taxes
Correct.
of 90% and the Philippine exports. And I know that the electronics and semiconductors are much affected on this one. Because there's also this expectation or the plan of 100% tax on chips, no? And so the Philippines is part of the RCEP trade bloc, which opens doors to markets in Japan, Korea, and Australia, and other countries that you have mentioned. So the challenge is to quickly help the local exporters shift to these markets. So it's not, we have to diversify. It's not that the US market. There are other markets, which is part of members of RCEP. So we have to speed up trade agreements and invest more on research and technology, really. On the say impact on that on food security, so we have actually there's ripple effects on that into agriculture. So remember that we are exporting some of our agricultural products. So
Okay.
this has to do. We can export to the RCEP countries.
Got that. Another one of those acronyms to remember from here on out. Thank you so much. Tiongco of De La Salle University.